Welcome to Gear 5 Luffy vs One Piece Treasure Cruise Episode 3, where we are going to go against all dual unit raids from the Recollection archive. So without further ado, let's get to it. First up, we have Shanks and Mihawk, a normal difficulty raid, which is of course extremely easy, came out approximately 5 years ago. And fun fact about this unit, it actually came out in the global version of One Piece Treasure Cruise before it came out in the Japanese version, before of course we got the merge of the servers in one singular game. They made their global debut a year prior to their Japan debut, which of course made the unit a lot worse when it was released in Japan, and it is actually not a great unit in general. Still, Shanks and Mihawk though, two huge characters in the One Piece universe, so maybe they can be helpful sometime to provide access to a super type or a super class, but they are just not that great of a unit, pretty outdated at this point. Our Sai free-to-play Nami here will be big help during the quest because of her sailor ability to actually reduce paralysis by one turn. She can help us reduce it and stall it out in stage number 2. And she will also help us completely remove it in stage number 4. In the first stage we got slot binded for essentially the remainder of the quest because I left the barrier mobs alive, but it's fine, I just wanted to stall. The slots do not matter, we have way overkill damage, so we're fine. Also, our Nami has her slot bind resistance limit break ability maxed out, so she can completely resist it and have a matching slot when we need her to. We are done with our stalling now, so might as well take out every enemy immediately in stage number 3 and proceed to face off versus Q Shanks in stage number 4. This Shanks right here will gain resilience. What we are going to do first is activate one EX Super and one Special of Gear 5 Luffy, and the damage from his Special will take care of Shanks immediately. Obviously the resilience doesn't count since it is just one hit damage. But then Shanks will actually revive, paralyze us and gain approximately 20 to 30% of his original HP, but this time without resilience. Nami's sailor ability reduces the paralysis, then with her special we are going to completely remove it. Since we do have the double special activation of Sanji, might as well activate him once here as well, and then we are going to defeat this version of Shanks to proceed to face the dual form version of him and Mihawk. In the bottom right we have 5+ Story Robin, who can resist the special bind on herself. The sockets will reduce despair, and then we activate Robin to completely remove the special bind from everyone and the remaining despair as well. Then we activate the remaining EX Super of our Gear 5 Luffy and his special to increase our damage and reduce the enemy's barrier by one turn. And then we want to activate Sanji to increase our damage even more, guarantee Nami a matching slot, and remove the Shanks Mihawk barrier to defeat them for good. Class Coby and Helmeppo is up next, another normal difficulty raid, the second one out of the total 2 for the dual units. And fun fact, this is actually my first ever raid guide on the channel for One Piece Treasure Cruise. It was Coby and Helmeppo when they came out approximately 3 to 4 years ago, and they were pretty tricky back in the day, mainly because of the fact that Rare Recruit Ain was so important to clear this raid. I managed to do it without her back then, it is of course super easy to do it without her now. And I would say that this is not a horrible unit, but unfortunately their utility is for 4 turns, not 5 or more, which is definitely low for today's One Piece Treasure Cruise. But the thing is, because we haven't seen a lot of Marine Legends with either the Super Sugofest name or generally with Super Class or Super Type, Coby and Helmeppo don't really have a lot of chances to shine. They are also kind of misrepresented in One Piece Treasure Cruise. If for example we get a Garp Super Sugofest Legend at some point, which would be awesome, they could see more use. Still, not a great unit though for what they provide, especially if we consider their competition and possible replacements. In stage number 3, we are going to see Helmeppo and some marines alongside him. He will have a great barrier, and I will activate Brook first to deal with essentially every enemy adjacent to Helmeppo. And then we are also going to activate Sanji. Both him and Brook have double special activation anyway. We can remove Helmeppo's barrier, get some matching slots and damage to super easily one-shot him and proceed to face off against Coby in stage number 4. The despair here will be completely removed because of sockets. Coby will gain damage reduction, and the marine will bind our right column, and the bind of course as always is removed because of our captain ability. We are going to activate one EX super, so we can actually ignore the damage reduction the enemies have. Brook is not really important to activate here, he doesn't provide anything since the enemies have full immunity. And finally, we are also going to activate Sanji for the second time, just to have a bit more damage, and more importantly to have some guaranteed adjacent matching slots to beat both Coby and his marine. Getting to the final stage, Garp will also appear, but he only talks and then leaves, so he will be no problem. What we have to do after the preemptive is first we are going to activate the remaining EX super and at least one of our captain specials. So we damage the enemy of course, we will also get a full board of guaranteed matching slots, and the color affinity boost won't matter since the enemy has the same color as our entire team does as well. The ore boost is still very helpful, and finally we are also going to activate Zoro, who at maximum level limit break will remove the enemy's defense up, allowing us to defeat them very comfortably. Class Usopp and Chopper is up next, a unit that generally could be better nowadays simply because we can increase existing orb and attack boosting effects, but I still don't really see play to be honest. This is an extremely easy raid for Gear 5 Luffy specifically, because the mini-boss and main bosses in this raid actually rely a lot on barriers and some defensive effects, but with Luffy in his Gear 5 state, we can completely ignore those and just defeat them, so we have less debuffs to worry about, and that is one of the amazing things about Gear 5 Luffy. In stage 2, we want to take care of the two fishman ladies in the front. We should prioritize them over the seahorse, because the seahorse might be able to fully bind our team, but our captain can fully resist it. The ladies in the front actually despair us and we do not have a way to deal with that, so we don't want it to happen. We take them out immediately, then we can stall normally after also taking out the seahorse. And the same will happen in stage number 3, we just stall a bit more if necessary and we proceed as fast as possible after that to stage number 4. Usopp and Chopper in stage number 4 will have a barrier that needs a specific slot in order to break, and they will paralyze our captains while also providing chain coefficient reduction. By activating Nami, we remove paralysis, and we are also going to activate one EX super, and after that Sanji for better slots and chain boundaries. We deal with every debuff here and we can ignore the barrier because of the Gear 5 state, so we attack and super easily defeat the enemies. Something to have in mind: when defeated, they will paralyze us further and also special bind all of our units. That's why we have treasure map unit Jinbe here in the bottom left, who can resist the special bind, and he can also completely remove it from everyone else alongside paralysis in the final stage. I guess you can say a confliction we have in the team is that Jinbe provides a color affinity boost, so we won't get it from Gear 5 Luffy, which is literally not an issue because we have more than enough damage to take out Usopp. After Jinbe, we want to activate the remaining EX Super and both the specials of our captains. They will actually deal with defense up, since they will reduce it for 1 turn each, and we can damage Chopper here since we have the color affinity boost over Usopp as well. We get the full board of matching slots and the damage, and then we are going to activate Sanji for the chain boundaries to deal with the chain coefficient reduction again, and then we attack to super easily clear the quest. Now we have raid Sengoku and Garp, one of the hard difficulty raids for the dual units. Immediately when we enter, we want to target the Marine with the Great Barrier, break his barrier and defeat him, because if left alive he will be extremely annoying, so we just want to get rid of him immediately and then we can stall properly in stage 2. This is also the first time we are going to use Sai free-to-play Chopper in the team. And the unique part about this raid is, first of all, once again we have a barrier main boss, which is awesome for Gear 5 Luffy, not an issue at all, but in stage number 4, the mini bosses can differ. We will either get Garp or Sengoku, and they provide different debuffs, but essentially we can still deal with them by activating the same specials no matter who appears. Sengoku and Garp are definitely an outdated unit, especially looking at their boosting being 1.75 times and 1.2 times from their swap. It's just not looking great. They do have the ability to remove all teams' beneficial effects, which is great in a lot of situations where we get a low ore boost or a low attack boost from the enemy and we want to remove it to apply a better one ourselves. But the problem is with Sengoku and Garp that they provide an attack boost and an ore boost after they remove our beneficial effects, and it's not one of a great multiplier. So even though they are not a lot, we are going to try and find another unit to remove beneficial effects or just increase our buffs if possible. After we defeat the Q-Marine, he will bind us, which we resist, and provide us with a full board of block slots. So in stage 4, no matter who appears, we want to activate Robin. If versus Garp, she will also remove attack down, but she will manipulate our block slot to matching. And then you can activate Chopper to reduce damage, because Sengoku will do damage for his after defeat hit. But the thing is, if you do that, do not go into the Gear 5 form of your captain. I will do it here because I know I have enough HP, but if you lost more HP from your stalling, you do not want to do that because the damage reduction does not apply since we are in the Gear 5 form. It cancels out. In the final stage now, I think Sengoku and Garp can be two different colors depending on what stage 4 variation we got, but no matter the case, it does not matter. We are going to activate our Gear 5 Luffy special. If you did not activate the X Super in the previous stage, do it now and then activate his special. We are going to activate Sanji for chain boundaries, and then we also have the full board of matching slots to easily beat Sengoku and Garp. They actually revive though. They will special bind our 4 top units, so only the bottom row ones can activate their specials, which is pretty handy because we have Brook, and after we activate the X Super of our second Luffy to increase our captain attack boosting, we are going to activate Brook to apply increased damage taken, since Sengoku and Garp don't have full immunity. Then we can attack and defeat them for good this time. The final dual unit class will be versus Magellan and Hannyabal, and out of the ones we have seen in this video, this is by far the unit I have used the most. They can be pretty helpful to provide a color affinity boost and slot manipulation in Q and Int teams in Kizuna. For this team, outside of our classic Sai free-to-play Straw Hat Crewmates, we are also going to use Treasure Map Q Fujitora, who is very helpful because Resilience appears a lot in this quest and Brook can help us with that as well. This quest also has a map effect where it activates every couple of turns to damage our team, but we can just ignore it. We stall normally in the first 2 stages. Here I avoid letting the enemy goons attack me, so when they are about to, I just take care of them and then stall on the sea animals. And when we are done with that, we can immediately proceed to stage number 3, where we are actually going to face versus 3 enemies, and all of them will have resilience active. Even though we essentially never see it anymore, it does exist in One Piece Treasure Cruise, where multiple enemies have the same buff for themselves, just like it happens with resilience here, but Brook's special states that he removes resilience from all enemies on the stage, so we activate him, we remove it, we apply increased damage taken, and easily defeat everyone. In stage number 4, we are going to see Hannyabal again, and he does have resilience, but this time for 99 turns, 98 after the preemptive. So we either need end of turn damage, or a special that removes all resilience in order to deal with it. That's why Fujitora is here. We activate him, he provides us with end of turn damage, and it is for 3 turns as well, which is incredibly good, because Hannyabal revives and he gains resilience again. So Fujitora allows us to ignore said resilience both times, and we defeat Hannyabal with the end of turn damage. After his revive, we also have block slots, so I am going to activate Sanji once to manipulate the adjacent slots to matching and gain chain boundaries as well to increase the damage a bit, and we can defeat him super easily here to proceed to face off against the dual unit in the final stage. And fun fact, this is the 3rd hard difficulty dual unit raid, and once again the main boss has a barrier, and once again Gear 5 Luffy does not care. We do need to be careful with something though in this specific stage. After the preemptive is complete, we want to activate one EX super and the special of that Luffy, so we remove defense up completely, the 1 turn of defense up. But orb boosting is interruptible, so Magellan and Hannyabal will remove all of our beneficial effects provided from that Luffy. Then we want to activate the other Luffy, but not his special during the Gear 5 form, just the normal one, and after his special provides the color affinity boosting. Since Magellan and Hannyabal are int, it will help us. Then we can go into the Gear 5 form for the upgraded Captain ability boosting. Then we activate Sanji for chain boundaries to deal with the chain coefficient reduction, and Robin to deal with the attack down. Both of these units are maximum level limit break. After that we attack and super easily clear the quest.